Hi, this is Thierry Samlal from PMML. Today I want to talk to you about land sales and recently built multifamily building sales for the province of Quebec for the month of February 2024. So once again, this month we're seeing a lot of developers purchase land for future development. We've seen that tendency increase quite a bit at the last quarter of 2023. In January, many sales took place for pieces of land that were sold below $1 per square foot. When you're seeing land sales below $1 per square foot, it's for development, often in the second outskirts of Montreal. So meaning a little bit, maybe an hour drive away, an hour to 2 hour drive away. So those pieces of land are sold for development and probably are going to be large pieces of land are purchased to be redeveloped, divided and resold to either promoters, either to constructors or to the general public. Now, why are we seeing this tendency now? More than likely because first of all, there's a lot of equity that was pulled out of the multifamily market in the last quarter of 2023. We've seen the financing and refinancing volume of multifamily buildings being 4 times the sales volume of multifamily buildings in the last quarter of 2023. A lot of people became liquid and now have this money to go on the market. The feeling I'm getting off of the market right now is people are feeling that their interest rates are nice and stable, that we're going in the right direction towards a drop. People have become accustomed now to the ratios that go with higher interest rates, closer to the 4 to 5 range, and now have accepted that fact and are going back to market with a longer exit plan, saying maybe 10 years, 7 to 10 years. Let's go see the comparables for land sales. We're seeing a lot of land sales taking place on the north end of Montreal. Here we're going into Chelsea. Chelsea is in the Lanaudière region, not too far from Montreal. 7 pieces of land of large dimension have been sold. One here which is almost 10 million square feet, 4 which are almost 5 million square feet, and one which is almost 1 million, and another one close to 650,000 square feet. Altogether, we're talking about 31 million square feet of land that was sold for 3 cents per square foot. Now, that could seem like a low amount, but the buyer is taking certain risks to develop in this area and has probably a master plan of redevelopment. This transaction took place to $1 million for the whole package. Now you know that $1 million cannot necessarily be financed unless you have a project that's going to lift on it on the short term. So what you have to do is either you have to have that money cash, or you lock in a deal with the owner and you say, listen, I'm going to give you a quarter of that amount, half of that amount, give me a balance of sale for the rest. When I'm going to start developing the pieces of land, we'll remove the mortgages partially per lot, or there's different ways of doing it. But basically, usually the developer is going to ask for the owner to participate. What's impressive here is the quantity of pieces of land. And what also is interesting here to see is that this is in the Lanaudière region, and an area where there's a lot of secondary homes. Lot areas in that area could be like 40,000, 50,000 square feet and even above. And this corroborates with sales that took place in January in that same general area and at the end of the quarter of 2023. So there's going to be development there. Probably homes. I can't foresee secondary homes for the moment, but I probably could see homes. If we're going towards cottages in this particular market, you have to have some kind of vision there. And this project is probably going to be developed in the next 2 years, basically, in the context where the interest rates are going to be probably lower. So that's probably in the strategy of the buyer. Last month, I gave you a lot of sales, institutional sales, cities and municipalities buying land for their own development. Either to put hospitals on, fire stations, libraries, community centers, schools, etc. And we saw that a lot last month. I gave you a couple of cities that had picking up municipal pieces of land. Also, some cities are picking those pieces of land up to be able to be redistributed for social and affordable housing also over time. So we're seeing cities becoming more implicated in the urbanism and taking action, and that's interesting. But this one here, the city is Saint-Alphonse-de-Rodriguez, which is in Lanaudière, also in that Chelsea area, not in the immediate area, but close by. So you know, just heads up, when you're seeing a city buy almost 18 million square feet of land, is because something's going to happen there. So for the investors that have properties in that area that are looking to purchase on the mid-long term, somewhere where there's some kind of potential, well, this could be a good place, Saint-Alphonse-de-Rodriguez. We're going into Val-des-Monts. I'm just going to talk about this one quickly. Almost 7,600,000 square feet, sold for $300,000 from a developer to a private. Now let's go to Saint-Adèle. For those who know Saint-Adèle, it's on Highway 15 going up into Laurentians. It's past Saint-Sauveur. Saint-Sauveur is a very hectic place. It's a ski hill, you know, leisure activity area. Not everybody wants to live in Saint-Sauveur because there's a lot of weekend tourists and seasonal tourists. A lot of people go towards Saint-Adèle to live. And a lot of people are willing to take that drive to come into Saint-Sauveur and either to go to Mont-Tremblant. Saint-Adèle is still accessible to Montreal and doesn't have that driving distance that Tremblant would have. And doesn't have the hectic lifestyle that Saint-Sauveur has, but although still has that commercial district with restaurants and whatever you need for your basic amenities when you're there, right? So here we have 8 pieces of land ranging between 2 million square feet to 16,000 square feet on different streets. Almost 5,800,000 square feet of land that was sold close to 90 cents, 89 cents per square foot. So a total of about 5,150,000 was sold from a developer to probably a builder here. So different things that we're seeing. We're seeing developers develop pieces of land, flipping them to other developers that now are going to continue the development, becoming liquid in that case, or we're seeing either people just going towards building and developing those pieces of land and selling them to contractors or buyers. And make a large amount of money on that. So 89 cents per square foot in a context where the pieces of land are larger, well, there's money to be made when you're reselling those pieces of land in individual lots. Interesting to see what the buyer is doing here. Saint-Antoine-de-Richelieu is another area I want to talk to you about, not in the same district, about 5,360 square feet, sold for 49 cents per square foot. A private investor sold to a private company. So what I want you to remember here is the tendency is continuing, but strongly. So the last quarter of 2023, a lot of land was sold there for development in the second outskirts. So an hour, 2-hour drive away from main cities. That tendency was continued in January with a lot of institutional sales. Cities were buying pieces of land for their own development or to give to social housing. A lot of land was sold below $1 per square foot, large pieces of land for redevelopment in January, and the tendency continues now in February. So that means a lot of confidence in the market, because usually when that confidence is not there, there's no land sales taking place, and we're seeing a lot of drop in pricing. Here I can't say that I'm seeing drop in pricing. I'm seeing something stable. But I'm seeing development for housing, more housing than other things. And I'm also seeing development for maybe secondary houses. So large pieces of land. So in a context where the interest rates are going to drop over time, that makes sense. I want to talk to you about 2 recently built buildings that were sold. One is a retirement home that was sold in Saint-Anne-des-Plaines, 2013 construction. It sold for an 80 unit, sold for close to $132,000 per door. Interesting to see that there's newer assets being sold in the retirement home division of the market. Why? Because a lot of the older homes are being sold because they have to come up to norm and they have to come up to standards for security purposes, fire, hazard purposes, medical purposes, etc. So seeing a 2013 construction being sold on the market is interesting. And this one being sold at $132,000 per door is interesting also. You might find that price per door low, but do consider that there's operational costs when you're running a retirement home, salaries, administration costs, services, etc. that change your cap rate basically to a more decompressed cap rate, closer to the 8% cap. So that's why the prices per door are a little shorter. So this could be interesting to buy either a retirement home to reposition it into a multifamily asset, depending on regulation in the area and potential that the city is ready to do, and the fact that it's occupied or not, operational or not. If you're buying an asset at $132,000 per door, of course these units are smaller, and you're converting it into a multifamily unit building could be interesting. Otherwise, just operating it in a context where the population is getting older is interesting also. Not all people that are going towards retirement have the capacity to buy a brand new condominium. They prefer keeping that money and maybe giving it to their children, or just living off from that and maybe traveling, etc. The transaction that took place on Papineau, 2017 construction, 2017-2018 construction, there was a lot of newer multifamily buildings being built there. And what's interesting, what I'm noticing is that 2017 in the minds of the investors is still very, very young compared to 2024 construction. This one sold for almost $300,000 per door on Papineau, Ville-Marie Center, close to the Esplanade Quartier, close to the metro stations, walking distance or biking distance from Montreal Airport, downtown, name it, everything can be done in a short time. And this one went for a cap rate of 4.2. So market is being maintained, and not that many sales of newer assets, but I know that there's some in the pipeline, and I do know that there's still a large request for newer property because of reduced capex costs over time, controlled capex cost over time, facility to increase the easiness to increase the rents over time. So I hope that this information was interesting and useful for you. PMML.ca is our website, and if ever you have questions, just give me a phone call, send me an email. I'll be glad to answer. I'll talk to you, give you a report next month on what's going on the market, and from there on, great success in all of your real estate adventures. Take care.